The Dope and Tape Show. We are live right now. Whether you're watching us live or watching the replay, we appreciate you. We got a special show for you. Flash over right here. Bam. So here we are with Rich
Really
from
excited.
from Blue Recruit. I'm gonna let Brian take over for a bit so I can do some clicking.
Yeah, so I have several things I want to talk to you about. I'm actually looking for a couple of opportunities. I actually have three interviews tomorrow,
Oh,
but I'm at a weird spot in my
you're
career
lagging
where,
up again, Brian.
geez, I don't know what's going on, man.
Take the phones off the internet.
You know what? I think my roommate's playing Call of Duty.
Oh, you're sucking it all up.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
might
Get the fuck off.
get the fuck out. Yeah,
Am I better?
yeah, it is
Or is it
now.
still like that?
Dope and Tape.
All
What
right.
up, Teague?
So, let me know if I lag some more. I'll ask him politely to get off.
Yeah,
Um,
he's gonna have to finish whatever round he's in.
so
Fighting the
yeah,
Taliban over
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
yeah. We're winning.
We're winning. I can't get
You're
off
gonna mess
now.
up my kill to death ratio, bro.
The KD.
So I got a couple of interviews tomorrow. Um, and I'm at a weird spot in my career where I don't really interview anymore. I kind of just go in and tell them what I want, you know? It feels weird. It feels weird. And then also, since I've been talking to several different companies, I'm at the point where I know a lot of people in Atlanta. So I just call them, instead of like researching the company or going to the company, dropping off resumes. I call the people who run it because I know them. I'm second generation in Atlanta. I just know a lot of people. And then it seems like I don't know about other trades, but definitely for fire protection, it seems like for years the rates have been what they are. Like nothing has changed. Are you seeing that across the board? Like my father has made the same amount that he did this year as he did when he kind of just started. Like it's always so in Atlanta, it's always like the higher end is like 85 is like top management. And that's kind of what you're riding for your whole career. Uh Outside sales, inside sales is like 57 to 65 base salary, and then commissions change a lot. Um, and then for an apprentice, it's like $12 to 17 is like a high apprentice. And then if you're an inspector, a fully licensed, it's like 25 to 37. Like those are all the ranges, but those ranges have been the same forever.
Yeah,
Are you
those
seeing that across the nation or?
no, those numbers are especially on the inspector side of the house are just completely going away. The overall, like one of the big things we do at Blue Recruit is monitor the pay changes in every single one of our industries, and then we kind of narrow it down depending on the individual certifications and licenses. And it's been absolutely insane looking at the last like 6 quarters because we put this out every single quarter in something that we call the state of the trades. And uh, off of memory, right now the hourly rate for a general labor and construction is over $20 an hour across nationwide. Some states like
Mhm.
Texas, it's broken 21, and it's funny because we've really seen an uptick in companies looking for installers and inspectors, especially across like the Mid Atlantic and the Northeast, just with the amount of new construction going in, and the
Yeah,
pay rates, like you said, have been relatively steady. And it's been interesting because
right.
y'all are in an industry where there's really been a ceiling, but
Yeah.
that is now in the last about 6 quarters completely going away, and really the power is in the worker. Is these companies are so desperate, especially on the inspector side. Like if you've got those
Oh
inspection
man, there's just
certifications
not a
and
lot of
experience,
us.
Exactly. And it really is, you know how they
So
say
yeah.
like when buying a house, seller's market, buyer's market. Right now, it is a job seeker's market.
So you don't know this, and I don't think a lot of our viewers know this either. But so I was in sales, inspection sales, and then I managed accounts as well. So account management and all of that. And then the state law changed in Georgia to where there's no more level one waiver. So you have to have a level two NICET certifications. Y'all hear that? The guy's going,
I
you hear that?
what?
Someone's like unloading their gun. Just,
Oh no, I
welcome to
was
Atlanta,
I
guys.
heard nice at
I
level
was gonna
two,
say
baby.
that's just Atlanta.
You
I
guys
was in
hear
Atlanta
that?
last
You don't
Yeah,
weekend.
duck?
it's like
You
a
don't grab yours and go out there?
no, it's across the street, man.
Is it a
Yeah,
celebration
it's
or a fight?
no. It's a Wednesday at 9 o'clock. It could be anything.
You
But
can't
no,
tell
no, no. So
if it's
when they
Call of
blast
Duty
off
or
like that, like
Atlanta.
no, it's not a celebration. Celebrations is like, they take their time with it. But no, that was something.
Fucking Atlanta, man.
All it means, all it means is that for the next 7 and like probably for the next 5 hours, I can't leave. Like then the police will have a blocked off road.
That's fucking
So
crazy.
I was in
anyway,
Atlanta last week and
anyway,
I went into a Publix grocery store and like there's 3 armed security guards in a Publix at 7 o'clock at night.
What the
Welcome to
fuck?
Atlanta.
Yeah?
yeah.
Armed
So
security in the
do not.
grocery?
So there's a
Yeah,
perimeter.
like
So
two
there's
blocks from the aquarium.
What the fuck?
yeah. So there's what's called the perimeter. So it's a road that surrounds Atlanta, right? So you don't get gas at night inside the perimeter ever,
Man's got that McDonald's
and you
Wi-Fi.
always hide all your stuff. Never have anything where anybody can see it because they'll just steal it. They'll break their window and then run. And it's huge in Atlanta.
That's the
Just
fucking
so I work at a nightclub too, and I leave my Jeep unlocked.
Man's got
Like I
that
take everything
McDonald's
out, go out
Wi-Fi.
there.
Oh, it's fucking good.
So
Shit.
anyway, so
All
like
right,
you have to have a
back on
nice
track.
at level two in hand.
Yep.
Yeah. So my company came to me and I can also test backflows and then repair them too. So they were basically like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to make? Like, give us something. And I thought I went high and I didn't. So they were like, okay. I was like, oh damn.
Oh
So yeah,
Wait.
that's different. Yeah. So on the
damn.
on
Yeah,
the
you want him to talk
inspection
you down a
side,
little bit, right? Fucking shoot for
yeah,
the
that's what I was
stars, kid.
thinking.
Cause then they can send
Yeah,
you
oh,
into
yeah,
anything. You're fitting pipe too, you know?
yeah. I'm doing it all, everything. But with that change, I think it's going to. I think well, there's two ways of looking at it. There's a one guy like, oh well, we don't need a level three guy anymore. Like, why do we care? You get a state license level two. We'll just pay you level two, and we don't care about level three. And then there's other thought process, which is like pre-change, which is like we want a level three, we'll pay you all this money, but for what? So there's that argument in Atlanta too. But yeah, I feel like management wise, yeah, on the field it's going up, but in management in the office is kind of like the same from what I've been seeing in Atlanta.
No, that is a reality on the management side. Again, I forget the exact numbers off the top of my head, but we're seeing it pretty much top out around 92 to 96, regardless of how many years you've been in
Yeah,
nationwide, and that's just unfortunately it's part of the industry where you can. It's getting to the point where you can make more money out in the field
that's
as
what
an
I'm doing. I'm making more
as
money.
yeah as a licensed inspector than you can working management, and good for those guys.
Do them both.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So that's where we're at.
you guys
Or just
got
become a plumber
you
and you're
guys,
always going to make tons of money.
yeah, yeah. Well, because what the plumbers have that a lot of most sprinkler guys don't have is side jobs. I'm not able to like go and do a little sprinkler side gig on my way home. They just don't pop up as much as like
No, because the insurance is crazy,
and then
and then you also
so
have to
I'll
get attached to
allegedly
a license
do
holder.
little plumbing jobs. You know, because most of the people that know me will think that I'm a plumber, and they'll call me up and they'll be like, "Hey, I need you to come help," and then I'll just go, whatever. It's usually a leak or they want to change their sink or something. I'll help you out.
Yeah, I help
Yeah.
friends out
It's
with
all
that stuff
pipes.
too.
I could be a pretend plumber. Don't tell the Boston
And
Plumbing Monster.
then just deny, counter accuse. He'll make a calendar about you.
Yeah, right.
So what about other trades?
I
What
mean,
about
right
other
now,
trades?
what I call within the family of y'all's traits, um, you're an HVAC tech right now. You're a young kid. Go get your EPA, your universal, your 608, because again, you're going to be able to come right out of school making 35 plus an hour, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That for that first year out of trade school, making that kind of money, and a couple of years of experience under your belt, there's going to be jobs where they're making 100 plus an hour on commercial jobs, which is just
That's
absolutely
wild.
insane.
Yep.
But the demand on the refrigerant side, the boiler side, the commercial side is just so absolutely insane. And then with all the changes right now, um, on the federal law with refrigerants, those folks that are keeping up to date with that are going to be just miles ahead. And one huge thing we're also seeing is like on the property management. There's so like Atlanta's probably a great example. So many commercial properties out there. So many of those
Tons.
properties have been managed by the same company, the same group, 20, 30,
That's
40
true.
years. Those guys
Hmm.
and gals are all retiring, and those accounts are all going to be up again for renewals. So you're a young um, property manager, plumber, electrician. Go start hitting up property management companies because the folks that they've had working for them managing their properties for the last 20, 30 years, they're retiring.
Yeah, every high
And
rise
Yeah,
that I show up to,
JOL,
there's always like an in-house guy.
EBRD.
yep,
There's always in-house
exactly.
guys in these big. If it's a big ass building, there's probably at least three guys on rotation, so there could always be one there, and they're only working eights. And a lot of
Yep.
times
Yeah,
they're working crazy overtime, and they know the entire building. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. That's a good, property management.
Steady, good money.
Lou said
yeah.
he got two side jobs. He's been in the business for 3 years. It's pretty good money when you're the estimator. I bet. You could just, name your price. Brian makes Atlanta sound like a beautiful living place.
I know.
Just
But I do take pictures of parks and stuff. I just don't show you the gun I'm carrying, you know.
fucking, there's fucking bullet shell, the shells on the ground. Oh
Yeah,
shit,
but I
that's
thought
good.
it was so loud I thought y'all could hear it. Just pop, pop, pop.
No, I thought it was the roommate. He just won. He just won. He just
Yeah,
came first place in Warzone or something.
Just went out in
just
the front yard, just pop, 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 pop.
I'm having FOMO.
defending America one reboot at a time.
I'm having FOMO of the Call of Duty because I can't play.
Hey, you gotta keep housing low, all right?
Oh yeah, that drives the prices down.
Yeah.
Pop some shots
So
off.
if someone, let's say like me, I'm looking for a new job at another at another company, like what's the steps in getting in touch with you? How does that look?
Yeah. So what we did at Blue Recruit was we're like, why on earth do blue collar skilled workers need resumes? Just did not make any sense to us. My father in law, he dropped out of high school when he was about 16 years old, started painting cars, and he's retired now. But eventually, he had a couple body shops of his own. He called me up one day because I was like in traditional recruiting where that headhunter type role, and he's like, dude, I'm trying to hire for a painter
Mhm.
for one of my shops. I went to Indeed, put up a job post. He's like, I just got like 80 resumes for house painters. He's like, a house painter can't paint a car. It's completely different. Kind of like Bobby, what you said. Like people think you're a plumber. Like no, I'm a fire sprinkler
Yep.
Yeah.
technician.
Yeah.
And so so we kind of got to thinking. We're like, why don't we just do the dating app approach, but for blue collar workers? Because at the end of the day, like you either need your level two, you either have your level two inspection certification, or you don't. Like the job, they're not going to hire you if you don't have it. So we just came up with like a dating
Right.
app approach to it. So forget the resume,
Ooh.
have everybody
Okay.
just create a profile from their phone. So they're like, hey, I'm in construction, I'm a fire sprinkler technician. We then have all the certifications, the licenses, the experiences you can have within each one of those industries. You select what you have. You tell us what kind of money you want to make,
That's
what city
wicked
you want to
smart.
work in. Yep. And then employers say, hey, I
Yeah, I
need
like
a
it.
tech in Atlanta. I'm paying $38 an hour, and they need to have their level two. search, and then they see all the folks that are looking for a job that have it. They can chat, video interview, all from their phone.
Tinder for
So
sprinklers,
there
baby.
is there any cost for the like would say me since I'm looking? Like would there be a cost for me?
Nope, no, we do not want to. Folks are looking for jobs. The last thing they need to do is pay to try and find a job. So it's totally free for them. The employers are the ones. Every employer in America needs to hire right now. So we made a real easy, inexpensive way for them to use it, but they're the ones that are paying.
That's cool. I like
Okay.
that. That's wicked cool. So if anyone's trying to get into the industry that's watching this, whether it's live or the replay, because we'll be able to send you back to this. I put the title of this one. They've all just had number titles, and this one says Blue Recruits. You can come back and look and listen,
Ah, I
and
feel
hopefully
special.
get a job.
Yeah.
If you need a job, you can hit up Rich and go on his Instagram page and send some DMs and let him know what trade you're looking for. Hopefully it's sprinkler, but we'll accept you if you take any other trades.
And I am completely social media inept, so you won't be talking to me, but Rio or Cassidy or one of the other folks will take good care of you because I always find it hilarious when they tell me like, oh, go on IG Live for this. I'm like, you think I even know how to turn on IG Live? Like, get the hell out of here.
Oh, you got it. It just takes practice. It just takes
Yeah,
practice. Everything starts at the plus. Go to the plus and then pick something. Usually
I'm
reels.
just gonna.
Dude, the live was harder than I thought. Like I thought I can get on
It doesn't
live and
make sense, dude. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
I was
make
like,
sense.
um I was like, well, it's like, what do I
I
do with
thought I
my
was like
hands?
shadow banned. I went live the other day because that's like the first thing says like if you can't go live, you're shadow banned. So I was like, fuck it. I'm sitting in traffic. I'm going live. It went live. My Instagram was just screwed up. I think I got way too much shit on this phone, like 30,000 pictures at this point.
Wow.
So it's time for another phone,
It's probably Brian's roommate playing Call of Duty on your phone.
right? I miss Call of Duty with the boys.
Yeah, so Bobby's not allowed. He doesn't play nicely.
No,
So he's permanently banned from Call of Duty.
I just had to see what it was like to fucking have the feeling of those hackers had, and it was fucking glorious. It was
It's
glorious.
like a hacker in Grand Theft Auto, you know?
Yeah, you could headshot people you couldn't even see. You couldn't even see them,
But
and
you
you're
know,
headshotting them.
sometimes so when I was first looking for another job, like I felt like at this point, like I was outgrowing my industry, you know? Like I'm at the top. I've done everything. There's nothing more I can really do. Like I can go to some advanced fire pump classes. I
Go start your
can,
own business,
get
man.
my
It's
level.
time to start. It's time to launch Atlanta
Huh?
Fire Protection.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll get
That's
there.
the
Ooh,
awesome
did you
thing
hear the
about our
pause? Do you hear
about
the
our
pause we got out of him?
Ooh.
We
about
had
our
like
industry.
It's just,
it was like
it
5
is
seconds of silence.
intimidating, you know?
Oh
Like
yeah.
we have some friends from on Instagram and stuff that are doing it and everything and um yeah, man,
It'd be a
it's
lot to
like,
take
whoa.
on because you're gonna wear all those belts
Yeah,
at the
and
same
also
time.
you have to immediately out the gate cover that entrance.
Yeah.
That junk's what did what was it, Rise and Fire? What did he say? 25,000, 20,000?
Um, I think he was like you could start it off at 10. They'll give you a deal for the first year. I forget. We're gonna have to get Jeremy back on here.
Yeah, and then it covers. I think the coverage has to be like 500,000 or 750.
You kind of want like a million, but as long as you don't have any fuck ups, then your price stays
Right.
down. That's like the big
So
Well,
my
thing.
father started it.
if no
Minimum
one
is
ever screwed up with, none of us would
500,000.
need insurance.
Right.
Jeez.
Damn, Bobby's the reason I'm accusing everyone of hacks.
So the thing with from what I see with fire protection is so the first company I'm going to talk to in the morning, they only do service and inspections, which is what I would do. But still, the liability is just crazy. You know, we ask a lot of people about flood stories and stuff, and then also um, unreliable technicians with drugs and accidents. Like I don't know if like I've talked to several business owners that are running trucks, they're not just them, and then like sometimes they have trouble sleeping at night, and they're worried that they're gonna wake up with one of their trucks on the side on when they're watching the news.
Oh man.
Like I don't know if I want to deal with that. Like I don't know if I want that part of my life, the stress.
Finding good help is basically the stress. That's why we got Rich.
Yeah, I will say, and frankly, it doesn't matter like what industry you're in. Like once a week, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm like, holy crap,
So
is this
15.
going to be okay? And it's like, now I'm running a tech company and completely, not doing the physical work, but it's just, um, I think it doesn't matter what kind of whether you're running a bakery, uh, Atlanta Fire Protection, or the bank. I think once you're at that level of where at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. That's just the stress, and I frankly I think that's why a lot of companies end up failing, is that people that were really good technicians were really good cooks. Well, just because you're a really good cook doesn't mean you're a good restaurant owner.
Yeah,
Just because you're a good barber doesn't mean you can run the barber shop. And
exactly. Because no, that usually you got the good work ethic and you're fast and you're efficient, and you can't expect everybody to be that. That's going to be
mhm.
hard to find.
I mean,
Yeah.
Brian, you know this from sales. So many times the best salesman, sales chick in the company, they're a terrible sales manager. Because
Yeah.
they're really good at selling it, they can't manage
Yeah.
people to save their lives.
Right.
Yeah,
Happens
and
all the
and, and,
time.
and yep, and it's just, and I think so many companies screw that up. Like, oh, they're the best salesperson, make them a sales manager, and they do awful because they're just meant to be wolves. They're hunters. They're
Yep.
not
Yeah.
managers or
So
leaders.
Teague says that he thought for sprinklers it was 1 million minimum for insurance and the first 100K is on the company. So I always thought that it was something big like that too, Teague. And we talked to a couple business owners and it was like they were paying like
It's a lot.
10 to 20,000 a year, and they were getting like half a mil to $1 million coverage.
Half a mil just doesn't sound like enough to me.
Hate to
That's
say
just
it, I'm 24 and I'm
Well,
ashamed of
I
most
say
of my
half a mil because
generation's
I
worth
think that's
ethic.
what my father had for his consulting business. Like
Sucks,
I
man.
think it was starting minimum was 500,000.
Yeah, well, I think you gotta like as you get vehicles and you start getting
Well,
properties
yeah,
and
he
stuff,
wasn't
you have
running
to
any
start bumping it up.
trucks,
If it's just you and it's just all you gotta worry about is yourself fucking up. Like for you, because you're just such good at inspecting and testing, you should just like make your own shit doing that, dude. Load yourself up. Go do 10 of them things a day. How much liability's in that? I mean, you're not gonna flood anything.
No.
If something burns down and you missed a step,
Yeah.
I mean, the chances of that are slim.
So when I sell, I would look, man. I'm really good at selling. Like I would fuck off a lot
Chris
because
made that
my
Teague.
I would I would average from 15 to $30,000 a month in sales and inspections, and I would fuck off a lot. So if I would do it, yeah, I would instead of the fuck off time, I would be selling, and then managing accounts and then doing the inspections as I go. And I also had to be attached
Why don't
to
I see
a
that in here?
like I had to pay someone. I think the going rate is like $2,000 a month to use someone's license, like
What?
their engineering license. I
Mm,
had to be attached to an engineer.
you gotta get the stamp, yeah. Right? You need the
That's like
engineering stamp.
2,000.
We got a good question from YouTube that I missed is from Lewis. How fast can you get someone hired as a brand new person looking to get into the trades?
But are they trying to hire a brand new person, or are
He,
they the brand new person?
well, by the way he's got it worded, it's probably like he wants to try to get somebody a job. But how fast can you get someone hired as a brand new person looking to get into the trades? This guy's already in the trade. I know that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, it comes down to the individual trade. As you all know, there's a lot of seasonality in a lot of different trades. Right now, if you're a roofer, you know, you're not going to get a job until spring. If you're in landscaping, you're not going to get a job until spring. If you're a plumber, if you're a HVAC, if you're a fitter, um, right now the average new HVAC tech is getting 3 different requests from companies the day they sign up. So it's a matter of how quickly you can get yourself in for that interview. But really, it comes down to the individual trade, the seasonality. Construction is about a third of our business, just given the fact that it's so large. And obviously, we're gearing up right now as the rest of the country comes out of winter. It's going to be prime hiring time. If you're you know a CDL driver that's willing to go over the road, you you're deciding what your pay is. You're deciding what company to work for.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's just
So,
so needed, you
so I
know?
mean, to get into the trades, this is big. If you want to get into the trades, just make the jump. So if anyone ever hits me up in my DMs and they're like, "What's the first step to getting into a trade?" The first thing that I tell them is, "Do you have OSHA 10? Because just get the OSHA 10."
Yep.
Because like right there, I feel like that just you're already over the
O-
fence.
OSHA 10 shows any employer that you actually give a shit.
Yep.
Like you're willing to sit down, learn something, take a test, and knock it out. We actually put it on. I think it's next Wednesday is our next one. Once a month, we partner with Little Giant about a year ago, the ladder company, and we host for all of our job seekers. They can attend for free, and we do the fall protection class
Oh yeah,
from
yeah.
their studios. Like Little Giant has this Hollywood level production studio at their corporate headquarters in Utah. It's absolutely insane.
That's so cool.
And so, yeah, like it is crazy. So they put on a live class once a month with us, and it counts towards your OSHA 10, OSHA 30. It's like just start off taking things like that because it just shows an employer like you're willing to learn, you're willing to take a little bit of time, an hour out of your day to knock out a class. And
That's it. I mean, the
uh,
OSHA 10 is literally going to take you 10 hours. You cannot
yep,
skip it. It won't let you go. You're not going to be able to like quick click. It's timed. You might as well just read the shit. I did the OSHA 30 to run work in Boston. You have to have an OSHA 30. There's a lot of requirements now. You got to be CPR certified, and you got to be like a willing and able body. So anything that you can get prior, I'd say do it. But it
yep,
seems like you
And
can
that can
just
also
call up Rich and
that's
get a
also
job
your
right away.
continued education too. You can put that towards that.
yep.
So you gotta get that anyway if you're certified.
We got to start getting to
So
these
it helps.
conventions somehow that you guys are all going to that nobody seems to invite sprinkler fitters.
Yeah.
Right? It's like like they just invite all the plumbers and they give away all these pro press tools and shit, and then the sprinkler fitters are like the redheaded stepchild of the industry.
Oh, it's
It's
like we
it,
don't
it's
exist.
it's racist towards fitters,
Yeah,
clearly.
for real. You know,
Yeah,
this
it's
is life
like
safety. We want to be at these things.
at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they'll give glass drinkware for like beer and stuff to everybody, every sport, but soccer. Soccer comes in, you get plastic.
Gee,
So
I
like
wonder why.
because they get rowdy. So we're like the plastic cup drinkers at one of these conventions. I think that's what the way they look at it. You know,
Fucking get me in
I
there.
don't
remember the
want to
first time I went to
those
Mercedes
guys.
Benz for a game. It was Alabama, Florida State. I think it was like the second game. I had no idea that their prices, they just charged like normal food prices, not stadium prices. And I was like, this is the
Mm,
coolest thing ever. Like
yeah.
totally random, but
Yeah,
I thought
right?
that was super
Yeah,
cool.
stadium prices are all it's just so gouging.
Oh man, it's
It's like,
crazy.
oh
It's
wow, you
crazy.
can actually afford to come to more than one game a year because they're not charging you $17 for a beer.
Right?
Well, I
Or a
mean,
fucking
prices
pretzel.
for seats are expensive. At the Braves and stuff, I just get standing, which is like $25. Because I'm
And
not a standing drink anyway. Why
then
am
you
I
just
gonna
roam
buy a
around, yeah.
seat? You know? And then
Firefighters heroes. That's it. We are the firefighters heroes. We're the first ones at the fire. It's life safety. That's what I tell the other trades on the
we
job. I'm like,
yeah.
this is life safety, bud. You can go around me.
It's hard for them to I mean, we so efficient. Like with fire sprinkler, like if the head in the system does their job, I mean, it's so efficient at putting away fires.
If you do
Like
everything
really,
right,
they just show up and turn off the system.
you flush it right, you take all coupons out when you drill when you drill mechanical tees, and there's a lot of steps you
Yeah.
got to get right.
So, what do you think the future is with the trades? Like, where do you see anywhere that like it's going that might change?
Not with that fucking
Like
cordless threader
union
that they're
versus
trying to drop.
private companies, or
I think this probably sounds terrible just using this terminology, but COVID was undoubtedly the best thing that could have ever happened to the trades.
mm,
It clearly showed everybody that,
How
oh
important.
wow, yeah, like just we
Essential, baby.
completely we completely need these people, and my degree in ancient British literature probably isn't all that great of an investment of money. Um, but I think what's really going to help the trades out. I saw a report. I think I can't remember if it was Stanley Black and Decker or Rigid that put it out about a year ago. But one of the biggest things that was keeping young people from pursuing the trades was that they didn't think it was high tech or technical. And it's like wow, you could not be more wrong.
Oh yeah.
like like
Yeah.
the amount of technology, software, just engineering know-how that's necessary. And I think if we all start doing a better job of showing folks how much technical knowledge is required, how much technology is involved across the different industries, I think that'll be a huge part. Like, look at the rise of like mechatronics and robotics. Um, all these people right now that are getting paid 17, $18 an hour to work at fast food don't realize, like, they're like, and like, oh, I don't want to go learn a trade because I'm making really good money. Yeah, well, the problem is that you're getting paid $18 an hour to work at McDonald's. McDonald's is going to figure out a way for a robot to do that job. And
Yeah.
unless you figure out how to build that robot and fix that robot, you're gonna be up shit's creek. And I
That's
think
one of
that's
the
the
best
future.
things. Yeah, that's one of the best things about being in a in a trade. I got overtime every week during COVID.
Yeah, oh my
You know,
God. This is my highest grossing year that I had was COVID.
all
I
the
would
all the
love
trades
to
were running
I would
every
buy
day.
a robot, right? A Bobby robot, and then I buy it, it's mine. But I send that fucker in the van and I control him from right here, right? He goes up the ladder, he fucking super fast and efficient. He doesn't need to know any of the tricks because I'm just controlling him right here.
Yeah, but eventually he's gonna learn, and then they take over. Like, you have
With
not watched enough
AI.
movies, Bobby.
Yeah, that's
Come on,
true.
man. We
I,
can't
I
teach him
s-
that much.
I saw a post where it was like it showed all the current robots and where their batteries are and shit and where you're supposed to shoot them.
So
There's just gonna be
I do
they're
think in
gonna
the
be
trades,
endless.
like we're gonna is always gonna need manpower.
One hundred
Always.
and
percent. 100%.
and woman power. Bobby secretly got that new Milwaukee cordless in the back of his van and he loves it. And Chris says it weighs more than him. It does. It weighs a lot. It's a 250
Was
pound
it
machine.
250?
Yeah, Ralph is like 130. I picked Ralph.
Yeah.
I took a video. I'm gonna try to make a reel tomorrow.
250. Jeez.
And I just pull Ralph out of the van. You can pull him out. I would never be able to do that by myself with that fucking big.
It's the first sucky Milwaukee product
That's their
they've ever
first
came out with.
flop. Milwaukee's first
Oh, it's
flop.
terrible.
What are you gonna
Terrible.
do?
Hashtag first flop.
You could do all the sketchy shit with the robot Bobby. Robot Bobby probably
First
like,
flop.
I will not do top step. This is illegal. The damn
So
Terminator
so
sprinkler fitters.
what made you take that first plunge to this? Like from just being employed to like, I could do this. This is a great idea. I'm gonna do it.
So, funny story. I actually have never shared this other than with my wife, but we've been kind of laying out the groundwork for the company for a while. I was eventually I was the head of sales and marketing for a nationwide recruiting company, and kind of on the side, I was planning out like, hey, will this actually work? And one day, the CEO of the company came into my office. We started talking, and he asked me to do something. I was like, nah, like, I'm not going to do that. I think that's dumb. Eventually turned into an argument. I was like, you know what? I'm out. And I quit work that morning, walked out,
Nice. Good for you.
went home, and I was like, all right, I guess it is time to officially launch the company. So we launched it.
Wow.
And about that was November 2019, October, November 2019. And then we had our software out the second week of March. It was no joke, like a week before COVID. And then COVID happened. And, you know, uh, again, we've been talking about like COVID for the trades it was, it was a boom. So, while COVID obviously was a terrible thing, the
It
best thing that could possibly have
it
happened for our
pumped up the
company was,
trades, man.
yeah,
The
because
jobs
it
were
just,
just we were the only ones in the city. The traffic went away. It seemed like I just gotta put this out
That
there a
was
little bit.
awesome.
When there was only tradespeople on the road, the fucking highways were great, man. When some of the office people came back, we were fucked. They
I,
don't know
I
how to
I
drive.
remember I had to go to Florida for some meetings in May, and so I was on I-95, and I was like, I feel like this is like what it's like after the Armageddon. Like, it's like The Last of Us, that show right now on HBO, which is absolutely awesome. If you're not watching it, you're wrong. But I was like, this is what it's gonna be like.
It's just like all commercial vehicles,
Yeah, it was
just
like me
fucking
and
riding
five
around.
seatbelts.
Yeah, I loved it. Now it's back to road rage and Bobby.
Man, that's why. I
Robot
told
Bobby
my
use
office
005s. No, no, I
I
will
told
not
my
use
office no
005.
today.
You told them no?
So yeah, so I originally went out to a bank and there was a head. I put it on my story before during the big freeze, and there was a head, like a dry head sidewall down a I mean, this thing was extremely steep stairs, right? And I was like, I can't get that out. And then the guy at the bank was, how would he do it? I said, we would have to build scaffolding to safely get this head out. So somehow magically the head came out without scaffolding,
Extension ladder.
and then yeah, well, I think he had a six, I think he had an 8 foot.
He was
What?
probably using a little giant quality ladder system.
Yeah, yeah. And then he said,
Shout
and
out
then
Little
they were like,
Giant.
"Hey, you go put this back." I was like, "Well, how did you even get it out? Who got it out? Like, what's the trick? Like, I don't know how to put this in safely." So I called the tech right in front of like my scheduler, and I was like, "Hey," I put him on speakerphone. He didn't know he was on speakerphone, and I was like, "Hey, man, how did you get that head out?" He said some fucking crazy unsafe shit. That's what he said. That was his words. I was like, all right, cool, thanks.
Yeah, on the
So I
stairwell, you
told him, I
gotta
was
flip
like,
the ladder upside down. That's the trick. I won't put that
so I
on the
told him, I
internet.
was like, I'm not doing it.
I'm
And
not doing it.
and they were like, well, we need you to do it. I said, I will do it, but I need you to send me an email saying that you want me to do this. And then they were like, well, I
Remember
mean,
that
just
insurance we were talking about earlier?
yeah.
Yeah, right. Hey, climb.
Right. And I was like, well, if you're gonna protect yourself, why can't I protect myself? I
Mm.
want to go play baseball with my boys. I want to go to work out. I like to run and do
Was
all the
there were
things
there
I do.
people there like that could see the situation or no?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was like three people in the office.
They came out to like try to show you how you're supposed to do it.
No, they don't know how to do it.
What's
They
up with
just said
you
go
couldn't
do
you
it.
couldn't do a just an extension ladder?
I don't have one, but it was. I mean, it's steep. Like
I've done
it's
I've
a
done some
weird
crazy
angle.
shit, boys. I'm not gonna lie. You ever see where they
Yeah.
hold the
Well,
extension ladder perfectly vertical, like three guys at the bottom and then one crazy fucker's got to climb up it? Yeah, done that before. You got to put the big guys down the bottom though. Upside
that's
down
so
ladder.
unsafe, man.
That's what the robots are for.
That's what the robots
Yeah.
are for. We're an unsafe industry. You
Yeah.
just try to do it as safely unsafe as you can. Drive fast, don't crash.
I mean,
So,
I guys, look, you have to protect yourself.
no, you're right.
No one
For
else
sure.
cares.
I would never force someone to do something crazy. I'll just say, come down.
I mean,
I'll do it.
from the beginning, like when I was just a helper, like I would tell my foreman no, you know, like I think I was like 25 feet up in the air on a lift, and I was on the I was leaning over and holding, I think it was a 6 inch or 8 inch. It was probably a 6 inch. I was just like holding it in the air, and at that height you can't let go. So then he was like wanting me to kind of like shimmy down and then like put the coupling on while I hold it. I'm like, bro, like this ain't gonna work.
I had
Well,
fucking 40-foot extension ladders side by each, 10 feet apart, and little Bobby had never done extension ladder work before, and we were hanging 10 6s of 6 inch, and he's like shaking me. Like I can, his whole body's shaking, and he's like shaking me on the ladder. I'm like, just fucking give me it, and I take the whole 10 6 from him and just stab it myself and Vic it. It was light.
wait, 6 inch,
It was light wall. For a
like scheduled 10.
temp FTC, yeah.
Jeez,
Schedule 10,
that's sketchy
baby.
stuff.
That's a strong
So
extension
let's
ladder.
say outside of like typical field work, what other things are you hiring for? Like, do you get sales stuff? Do you get management stuff? Like, what
So
other
so
than
we
just like pipe wrench in your hand?
no we built it for the skills, like for the actual workers that are building America, as we say it. What ends up happening a lot is, let's say you know guy who's been working for 25 years. I don't want to be carrying this stuff anymore. I don't want to be walking flights of stairs, but I'm not ready to retire yet. What we see happen quite a bit is those folks get asked by companies if they're interested in sales roles. because obviously you can't sell in our industry without actually knowing what it is you're talking about.
Yeah,
Everyone
right.
sees right through you immediately
Mm-hmm.
when people from outside the industry try selling. So what we did in our system was a company can basically send a message to any job seeker in our platform, and just ask them if they're interested. And if they're not, they just say no, and there's no harm, no foul. So we see that a lot with folks that have been in the industry for a while. Knees are starting to hurt, back's starting to hurt. I want to switch roles, and that's obviously where management, sales roles to get taken. And one really cool thing, we're about to launch it next month, is asking those folks that have been in the industry for a long time if they're interested in getting out of the field and becoming instructors at trade schools, because we have over 600 trade schools that we partner with. They give us their graduates, we get them jobs. But people think it's hard right now for companies to hire workers. It's almost impossible for schools to hire instructors.
Ugh.
Wow.
And I don't think a lot of the soon to retire field workers know that they've got a whole second career option in the
No,
classroom. Yeah.
I tell you what,
Huh.
none of the people that I've noticed or that I know even thought about
Are
that.
going and being teachers. The old timers. I mean, they might be a little. It might be tough getting an old time construction guy to hold his composure in a classroom with the language and
What's a
whatnot.
I
normal like salary for that? Like
it's
roughly.
it varies a lot. There's organizations like, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that obviously can't pay as well, but then there's phenomenal for-profit schools across the country that do pay, very well in the 30, 40 plus per hour for seasoned professionals. And when you're looking at that as a, hey, I've got my retirement, my pension plus that, it's pretty good living. And most of
That
the
is
time,
good.
it's those can be part-time roles or evening roles.
So Wayne up in Canada, he's a union guy. He's at a school. And then my father, no longer does it, but he was teaching a fire alarm class after work. So he would go and teach 3 times a week. And then he was attached to a university, like a trade. People would come in, enroll in the class, and then they would also have people come in for continuing education.
Yep.
He did it for a little while, then it just became a pain in the butt.
Brian would
But
be a good
he
teacher. I
still
agree with that,
good.
Chris. So,
Yeah,
Rich, do you have
I'm open to
are
that.
any trade schools hiring sprinkler guys?
Always.
Because I
Really?
went to a trade school and they didn't offer fire protection, so I had to go. I went through the plumbing trade to get familiar with the tools and the fitting allowances and pulling wrenches and learning how to caress Ralph. So when I came out, I was ready to be a sprinkler fitter in that aspect, but I did gain a bunch of like useless plumbing hours, code plumbing and working. Like I had hours. Like I was closer to being a plumber than a sprinkler fitter, put it that way.
Yeah.
Whereas if my school offered a fire protection shop, that I definitely would have done it. I've never heard of one. None of the
Yep.
schools around me offer that.
I'll
Yeah.
now that I know how, I'll DM you the information.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
you
I would
don't
have
know?
to
Did you
teach.
just
I
learn
would
how to
have to
DM
teach
today?
inspection.
No, no joke. I learned how to DM like a month ago. Like someone in the company was like, "Oh yeah, just DM them." I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that means. Like,
Oh man, there's so many DMs.
Where me and Bobby are both trying to still figure out. But Bobby down.
Yeah,
So
you're lucky that we. I mean, this is a lot going on, but we're here. We're on. We're live. We
yeah, we
could
have
like
like 6 different programs. And we got like passwords to this and that. I got a notebook for dope and tape now, just with passwords and programs that we're using.
I leave it all to Siri.
that's
Siri better remember my shit. I'll tell you. I want to just
so
click
the
it. She
so
looks
the
into
so
my
the
eyes, and I'm
so the
fucking in.
Chinese now have the password to dope and tape.
That's it. Oh yeah. I just like to look into the phone, and it just whatever I'm trying to get into just unlocks by looking at me, and that's how I set it up. Siri.
Well, let me ask you this. So I've never seen this before, or even heard of it. But like an NFPA 25 teacher for like inspections. Like I've never seen someone teach an inspection class. Is that even a thing?
I can't tell you off the top of my head
Well, I mean, I know you're like
The
all
school
over the
the
place
school that
with all
does
the
it. But
different trades.
yeah, we have right now the hardest challenge that we have. Um, like great companies like API, they use us for their fire inspectors, and they're getting our job seekers right out of trade school, and very similar to y'all. They have all the inspection requirements, so they're knocking it out in school. The trade that it's actually, or the two trades that are some of the hardest to place, or I shouldn't say place, but find kind of qualify people for, is carpentry, because
Mm,
there just aren't going through courses at trade schools
right.
anymore, and painters, because there's a lot of programs that do automotive painting, but I can't think of a single one off the top of my head that does residential and commercial painting, and it's really
Well,
just something that's
also,
learned on the job.
yeah, and I think one of the big things, I mean, I'm just gonna be completely honest here from my viewpoint and from what I've heard and experience of my father. Um, so my father had a high end um tile business for a while where he does like large patterns in hotels and like more intricate and challenging tile patterns. And then he said like I forgot the year, but almost overnight, like people were going in there with crews third of his cost
Ooh.
with a whole bunch of like illegal workers, and then like he just could not compete. And I think stuff not with carpentry. Obviously, carpentry requires a lot, and so does painting. But like you see that, I would imagine you would see that a lot with painting, flooring, painting, like repetitive.
Well, that's another thing. If you
Uh,
go back to the trade school, like there's not a unless you're doing automotive painting, you're not
Mm-hmm.
they don't there's not teaching you in the school how to paint. That's something you
Yep.
acquire on your own. You learn how electrical, carpentry, plumbing, automotive, HVAC. I'd like to get sprinklers in there. We got a first time tuning in, Moto Psycho. What's the guy in the black shirts role? This is Rich from Blue Recruit. If you're trying to get a job in the trade, you can send him a DM. Hopefully he can find it, and he'll hook you up with a whatever trade you want to get in. Download the app, and you're one step closer.
and thank
Just
you
go
for
to
coming in.
bluerecruit.com,
8:53.
Moto.
So, do
BlueRecruit.com if
you
we
have
can't
any?
figure out the
We're
DMs.
coming out on like the last 10 minutes. Do you have any questions for us on like what? So, like for
Yeah.
example, like I'm looking for jobs too, and I have a method, and I just didn't know if you maybe had some questions on that.
Yeah, what you mentioned, your system of these interviews you got coming up, and good luck, man. That is how the vast majority of folks in the trades get their jobs. Because we, up until very recently, one, we've just been ignored because you know tech software people have LinkedIn, everybody else has Indeed, and screw the plumbers and the fitters, because that's that's not a career, that's a fallback job, which has been the go-to mentality of up until 2020, when the rest of the world figured out, oh wow, we're really important. So really, like my father-in-law, really the that gave birth to the idea for this. um, he worked at the same place for over 20 years until eventually he had his own shops, because hey, I go to work, they pay me, it's a good job. And I remember one time my wife was thinking about getting a new job, and my father-in-law was like, well, why don't you just go in and give him your resume? It's like, no, you don't just walk into a building and hand somebody a resume anymore. Like, that's
Yeah,
not how it works. But that's how our industry is at work. It's, hey, my buddy's hiring, I'll let him know that you need a job. Like, that
right,
is
right.
how it's worked.
I'm always
And
vouching for people that I've worked with. If they're out, I mean, the union works a little bit differently, but if you need a
Yeah,
job
if
somewhere,
a
it's a phone
company,
call.
right, if
yep,
I'm talking to someone like a branch manager or someone and they want to ask about me, I was like, well, this person works there and this person works there. Just go talk to them about me.
yep,
There you go.
Yep,
yep.
that's it.
Uh, and hopefully, what we're doing creates, and that's a great way to do work. Every single person that works at Blue Recruit, they came on board because somebody knew them, and the exact same way. And I take hiring very, very seriously, and we all know that a couple bad hires can sink a company like faster than
Oh
anything else.
man.
Yep. So
Um,
vouching for someone, like,
yeah,
if you trust that person and then that they say they know someone that they trust, it usually goes a long way. It's a lot of word of
yep.
mouth. The Motorcycle says he's been in the trade for 7 years, but he noticed that you were talking with a bit higher education than us CPVC glue sniffers. That's great.
Mm,
Uh,
That's pretty good, man. Um, but yeah, like what we love it. The thing that I love the most is when I find out that somebody joined Blue Recruit, got a job, and I then find out later, because their buddy had gotten a job through Blue
Mm.
Recruit at that company, you know, a year prior, they told them, hey, create your Blue Recruit profile, and then they ended up getting brought on. And in a way, it's like we're kind of creating that same referral network, but through a digital space.
that's great.
Um,
That's wicked
and
smart.
hopefully it helps the industry, because right now, um, I just hope that more young people, more women, more veterans realize like this is a great path, and the amount of money you can make, the intrinsic benefit to what construction worker goes by a job site and doesn't say like I built that. Like, yeah, okay,
Exactly. You take
dude.
pride in that shit, man. And it's not
Yep.
like we're not wrenching in 6 inch anymore. Chicks can kill it in the trade. Chicks can really just kill
Yeah.
it in the trade, but they're just they don't that a lot. It's not a common thing for a female to pick to be in the industry.
So this was my transition time. So I did this in high school, under the table. I did sprinkler work, and then when I came out, I did a couple years in sales at some car dealerships, and I was very successful. I ended up being a closer. I moved into management all in like 2 years, and then in those 2 years, I also had a son, which I was only off on Tuesdays. So I ended up being the only. I was like the father who took the kid to school on Tuesday and then like cut the grass. Like that was and then like, I was so exhausted. Like I just passed out. I was that dad. And
Long
then
days.
then I called my yeah. I was just like this is not how I want to live my life. So I called my father. I was like, all right, I'm ready to get back in it. And he did something that I really look back and I was like, it makes total sense. I'm so glad he did it. Is he told me I could not go to the company that he was at. You can't. He's like, you're not going to come in here as Todd's son. You got to go somewhere else and earn your stripes. So he sent me to another company. Now he put me with a foreman that he knew, but he was like, you can't come work for me yet. He said, put
I
in a
mean, at the
year
end
and
of
then
the day, he's
come.
still your dad, and he
Yep.
was going to ensure that you had the right path, and
Yeah.
he knew, whoever that foreman was, like they were going to ship you
Pops
Oh
is
or
yeah.
looking
ship
I'm
out
you
sure he
for
made
you.
phone
exactly what you
calls.
wanted.
I
That's
went
how,
right
that,
I
that,
went right under
Yeah.
Dad's wing. I fucking huddled up right under Dad's wing, man. Right into the industry, 17 years old. My father was the
So
top dog and I was just
my
driving around with him
apprentice
talking shit.
My apprentice has been dating my sister for I think 8 years, and I did the same thing that my father did to him, and I sent him over to new construction for like 8, 10 months before I
Wait, he
brought
hasn't
him
been your
over to me.
apprentice for 8 years, has he?
No, no, he was dating
Okay,
my sister
I
for
just
a
want to
bit,
make
but
sure. I was like,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
this
no,
guy's
yeah,
you
he's
developing
gotta
been
level up.
slow.
yeah,
Oh
he's
shit.
been so he's a level one. He's gonna be working on his level two. Um, I mean, I think he has a plan and he's going on his own pace. So Um, I guess he's doing his own thing, but he was with me last year. Yeah, last year or the year before that. I don't remember now, but he's doing good. He's sticking with it.
That's
He's getting
great.
certified.
It's a family
Yeah, I'm
business.
happy for him.
Bring the kids in.
And you know what? And I've always made it to baseball games. I've always made it to school events. I've always made it to birthdays. Like this
It's
trade has
important.
gave me that flexibility. We
Yeah.
start early, we get off early. I can go and run errands.
I beat most of the traffic both ways.
Yeah.
Brian, what you're talking about right now, this blew my mind. We started asking this question about a year and a half ago, and it's been consistent since then. But when most people think like, what's the number one thing that people want from a job? Most people think it's the pay. But
No. freedom.
No, yeah, exactly. Um, for a year and a half that we've been asking this question, the number one response is I want flexibility in my schedule. And I remember one time I was talking to somebody
Yeah.
and they were saying all I want is on Thursday afternoons. My son has a lacrosse game like every Thursday afternoon. I want to be able to go to that lacrosse game. And I remember I talked to him after he got the job, and during the interview process, he was very open. And he's a mobile mechanic, and the owner of the mobile mechanic shop was like, "Hey, that's fine. You know, you'll probably have to come in on the occasional Saturday, maybe work later on Monday or Tuesday, but guaranteed every Thursday afternoon you have off. And you know, next year when your son changes leagues and maybe his games are on Tuesdays, then we'll rework their schedule." And like that was so much more important to him. And now that employer has just created an insanely loyal employee that he's going to
Happy,
have for
Yeah.
his
Oh,
life. Yeah.
happy
absolutely.
employee.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
like you
absolutely.
can if you want to take a vacation, you take a vacation. We're very flexible. At least where I am. Our boss is great.
So they pay for you don't get paid for your vacation in the union, right?
No, no paid
Yeah, it's just
vacation,
straight up
no paid
time off.
holidays. You know, that's like when you guys you go to Google and you look up how much we get paid. It's like it's nice. It's a lot of money, but there's how many federal holidays are there? There's like they keep adding them. I think there's 15 now. Those are all off. We get one paid holiday. The whole local gets one paid holiday. Used to be Thanksgiving, I believe. I hope I don't butcher this, but I think it's 4th of July. And
But what does
then
the top guy get paid? Like hourly, like top dude,
like
foreman.
so every journeyman in local 550 is getting like 67.50 an hour in their paycheck. Their total package
That's a
is
lot, man.
their total package is close to 100 with their pension, their annuity, their health care, the dues we pay for the school. On March 1st, we will be $100.35 an hour total package, just to be a journeyman
That's
sprinkler fitter.
unreal.
And like I think
So
as an
when you say
apprentice,
total package, what do
total
you mean? So
package.
there's deductions.
Yeah, so say it starts at 100, then I put $12 an hour to my pension. I put $9 an hour to my annuity. I put six, seven, $8 an hour to healthcare. $2 an hour to the building fund. However much money we're paying in dues. Then we have like a public relations where we have a public relations fund we all pay into. So if we want to bid against the non-union, obviously our bid is going to be way higher. So then we take from the public relations and kind of bring our bid down so we can compete against them. But a lot of times those will just end up being 669 jobs.
Those 669 guys.
669. They're like
Yeah.
they're
So
America's local.
with hiring, is there a what do you see the differences in from like when you're hiring a union guy versus a private company?
So what we did is from the very beginning, we're like, we don't want to basically create this union versus non-union mentality at
Hallelujah.
Blue Recruit.
Hallelujah.
We saw no reason in trying to have a turf war for no reason whatsoever. So what we instead did was, within our certification licenses, Bobby, all of your union specific courses you can take, your licenses, your certification, if you're an electrician, all your IBEWs are going to be in there. So union guys and gals can go ahead when they create their profile, add in all that stuff, your UA, whatever union you're a part of. And um, we're headquartered in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, unions down here where we are basically doesn't even apply for across most of the South, but obviously we're nationwide. So what we see is like API is a good example. Obviously, y'all are very familiar. There's union brands that they have. There's non-union brands that they have, and it really just kind of comes down to the individual jobs. A lot of times is, hey, if you call the hall, hopefully the hall answers and they have folks. Sometimes the hall doesn't answer, and that then allows them to use non-union folks. So we try to be as kind of agnostic as possible, and hopefully everyone benefits. But at the end of the day, right now everyone's so short supply across the board. It's, hey, we hired 2 union and 5 non-union, but at least the job got done and everybody now got paid.
Right. Yeah, so like if you were in local 550 and you needed a job, I could probably help you out. But if you're not in the local 550, that's where it gets, you have to do signups and you have to get into the local. Whether you have a license, I could point you in the right direction to get with the organizer, but there's different little steps you got to take. If you're signing up as a brand new apprentice, day one, I think the signups are in June or July. There's thousands of people that sign up every year, and I think we take 10, maybe 20 if there's a lot of it all goes by who's retiring that year. If there's a lot of retirees, we'll take enough to supplement that and enough to for the industry to grow. But it's a very hard local to get into. So like seeing, I guess if someone in the union's reaching out to you to find them a job, that really means that their business agent isn't being helpful for them because their business agent should really be finding them a job.
Yeah, and our numbers of union cardholder now Blue Recruit job seekers is constantly is on a steady rise.
That's good.
Um,
Well, the 669 is nationwide, so I'm sure there's a lot of them. I'm sure it would be
mhm.
good for them. And 669 companies just looking for fitters across the country, maybe for with
Yeah.
specifics. I think you guys are doing
But it's
something great for the industry.
bluerecruit.com, right?
Yep.
Man, thank you so much for coming on. Man, we really appreciate it. And I got a lot out of it too. And when we get off this, maybe not tonight, but tomorrow, I'm gonna go on there and create a profile.
Well, you
I
you, you
do
got
have
to
a
focus on
resume.
your interviews. So you knock out those interviews, then create a profile.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not gonna be a problem.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've never been on strike. A lot of people talk about strike. I mean, we're small, so as long as the union hall is keeping the members happy, they shouldn't be on strike. And if the union members are showing up to the union meetings, then they are in charge of that meeting, so they should be voting for shit that they want. Um, People that are going on strike, there's a lot of shit that's going wrong within. But we're
Well,
creeping
I
up. Oh
mean,
yeah, we're over an hour.
yeah, right now you look at the rail industry, and man, that is the definition of unions gone wrong.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Yes.
awful. And then they don't
Ooh,
even
well,
tell us
wow.
about it. So, if you guys watch this whole episode, we really appreciate you, whether it's live or the replay. If you could, please hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want to share this with your friends and your family and invite them in, we want them to watch us. We want to show them. We want to get them a job in the industry. Tell them to hit up Rich at Blue Recruit.
That's what I'll be doing tomorrow.
And